Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee Jolt with Johnny Cleveland. That's me. Welcome aboard. We are live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and the X. Not TikTok, but we're on TikTok. We are gaining momentum here at the Fanatical Elves Network. We're not in any contest to see if we're the best podcast in the land, but we have been around for a while. And as I just said, we are gaining some traction. Love the follows on TikTok and on YouTube and our Facebook page. We'll post those again on our X page to try to encourage you to come along on the ride, as we are a bunch of Browns fans just like you. And shout out also to Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. They shake the hand of the farmer. Great coffee product. You can find that link on our X page on the Fanatical Elves Network, ELFZ Network. Check that out. So yeah, coming to you Monday here morning, a little bit after 11 o'clock live. If you listen to us later on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, anywhere you listen to your podcast, we are there. Type in Fanatical Elves or just type in Cleveland Browns podcast and you're going to find us. Also, shout out to Sherry's Licorice here. I've got some great Sherry's Licorice here. Look at there, Sherry's Licorice. Sherry's Licorice is a group out of Goshen, Ohio. They have a great product. They've just kind of recently started up their website. Go check that out. It's just Google Sherry's Licorice, and you're going to find a plethora of amazing, good, uh, just what a treat, right? We all love licorice ever since you were a kid. You've loved licorice. Go check out their website, Sherry's Licorice. They got all sorts of flavors. We got cherry here, strawberry, red raspberry, anything you want. They have it, and great products there at Sherry's. Also, like I said, Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. They're out there in Mechanicsburg, Ohio, local company. So if you want to really come along and support some of the local businesses around Ohio, I'm down here in the Columbus area. You would be helping them out and helping us out here at the Fanatical Elves Network. So, yeah, hey, I'm on summer break. Yay! Brief summer break, 6 weeks, but that's for us, educators. I know some of you out there don't like us educators. You think that we have this free ride. We always have our summers off and a blah 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 blah. But teachers, educators are the most hardworking individuals on the face of the planet. And I'd go up against any of you lawyers, doctors, and anybody else out there. Yeah, you guys have a good job and you work hard, but uh, what was it? Earlier this week, I saw Tracy Morgan. What an idiot. Uh, just a complete moron. Dissing educators and talking about how educators only reach a certain plateau with like their education and their what they're paid. Just a complete idiot. Just a complete idiot. I have no respect for this guy. I mean, a little bit. Once he's a comedian and has been in a plethora of movies over the decades. But this guy, I think he was in some sort of accident that he recovered from. Just one of those idiot guys out there who just speaks non-truths. And so I got to stand up from our education system. People that just talk nonsense like this dude just piss me off. They have no business opening their mouths and talking about something that they have no idea what they're talking about. So, there's a show here locally on 97.1, the Fan. Great programming. And in the afternoons, we've got the Common Man and Timmy, and they always on Friday afternoons they say go straight to jail segment on Fridays. Go to jail. So Tracy Morgan, you can go to jail. As far as I'm concerned, you're an idiot. So you'll see a little bit more of me on the show, this Coffee Jolt show over this next 6 weeks. Probably not every day, but it is fun to do. And I typically have my own Johnny Cleveland podcast, and we'll continue to bring that along with a plethora of other shows. Steve Gill just did his Dog Pound South show. Great show because he's from out there in Nashville, Tennessee, and so he brings a different perspective, especially for you Browns fans who don't live here locally in the Cleveland or Columbus area. So Shout out to Steve. Steve has got an immense amount of information and understanding of the Browns. He's followed this team for decades. He also has an ear to the team and has inside sources, which he can't disclose, but there are a few people that he knows that probably other media folks in Cleveland know as well. And so when Steve speaks, I listen because he seems to have the understanding of what's kind of going on in Berea right now. Speaking of that, before I get into more conversation with what's going on in Berea, I was actually up in Berea yesterday. Did not stop by the Browns facility, but we were coming back through Cleveland. We had stopped over at the Rocky River kind of Metro Park area up there. Great spot. And on our way back, we drove through Berea, right by Baldwin Wallace University. Shout out to Baldwin Wallace. And yeah, had a nice meal there at the First Watch restaurant. First Watch is good stuff, man. Good food. I know we do the other food show later in the week. We'll do Stadium Mustard and the Cincinnati Chili Show with my colleague Troy, and we talk food in that show and a lot of other things. And so, man, might have to talk about First Watch. And also, when I was up in Cleveland, we stopped at a great spot. It's been featured on Diners, Dive-ins, and Drives, or Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives, called Fat Cats up there in Tremont. Maybe you've heard of it. Good stuff. Great, an assortment of a variety of foods, and so I would encourage all of you to check that place out. But it was a great weekend. We had originally went up to Cleveland to catch the Indians game. I'm sorry, the Guardians. Not really. They are the Indians. We all know that. Go Tribe. They had their game Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock late start, and my God, it seemed like every Cleveland player got hurt in the first few moments of that game. The first batter, I think, for Detroit hit a ball out to right center field, and Chase DeLaunter ran into the wall and messed up his ribs, and he came in and he tried to hit the ball. He got a nice single, but then immediately reached for his ribs, so he's out. And then there was the first player for the Indians to lead off got dinged up. He hit a foul ball, I think, off his ankle. And then later in the game, Jose Ramirez took a swing and a hit, and he had something pop, he said, in his hand. It's forget the name of the bone that he broke in his wrist, but he's having surgery on that and will likely be out for a good month, probably. So speedy recovery to Jose Ramirez. Cleveland did win that game 3-1 over a really rising. They're not great right now, the Tigers, but we actually sat in a section that was filled with Tigers fans. Shout out to you, Tigers fans. I was visiting with some of them, and it was a group from Detroit that they work at the Little Caesars as ushers, and there's a group leader there that they put together these trips across the area, and they come down to Cleveland once in a while, and they brought, I don't know, like 30 or 40 people probably. It's pretty cool to see all that. It's a support. I'm not a Tigers fan by any means, but it's nice to see that support for their own local team. So Indians did win that game 3-1. They did get rained out yesterday, or well, I guess it was sunny when they canceled the game, but there was a strong line of storms that came through about an hour after game time would have started, so they ended up postponing that game. Probably a good decision considering there was a lot of severe weather that ran through there. So I think they're going to have a makeup with that game in a doubleheader come September. So hey, thanks for watching us again live here on YouTube, Facebook, the X. If you have a comment, question, shoot them my way as we get into this. I won't keep you much longer this morning. We've already been on for 10 minutes. Can you believe that? I can talk a lot. So let me pull up my notes here. You can add these notes to the StreamYard, a great product if you're looking to strike up your own podcast. There you can use the group StreamYard. By the way, we are looking for more podcasters. If you have any interest at all, and if you have little experience doing podcasts, but if you ever thought like, hey, I want to strike up and do a podcast, reach out to us. DM us here at the Fanatical Elves on Twitter, or you can shoot me a direct message also at John Suchan on Twitter as well, or the X. So let's I want to go back to what I'm going to It is called Coffee Jolt. So I did bring my coffee. So let me take a sip of this great coffee from Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. It really is. There's nothing else in here other than real coffee from Hemisphere. I promise. So when I was Steve Gill, if you listen to his Dog Pound South show that just came out, actually it came out this morning. It was out yesterday, but I didn't share it out till this morning on our social media post. Steve in his show did mention that he has like an ear to the team and he has some inside sources that he talks to. And there's the conversation this morning in social media has again about the Browns quarterback situation, which they just finished up their mini camp. They won't start their main training camp until the end of July. So we still got a good month and a half before that happens. The season doesn't start for 3 more months. So we got a lot of time on our hands. And but Steve did say that this person that's got inside uh, uh, inside lane here to the Browns has said that basically the coaching staff of the Browns, if it were the season were to start today, that they would start Deshaun Watson instead of Shador Sanders. But they haven't announced that publicly, but they basically said they want to, they're both of these guys are in competition. Part of that is because Shador has shown some real progress. And I know people like Terry Pluto, a beat writer and sports columnist for the Browns in Cleveland for a long time. He also reported something very similar to that earlier today as well. But this, my source comes from Steve, our colleague here at the Fanatical Elves. That's why you should listen to Steve Gill and his show, along with it. We got other shows too, like the Browns Blitz with Rod Bloom and his brother Jeff. Check them out. They come out on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So look forward to hearing what they have to say next. But back to Steve and his show and this new information about Shador and Deshaun. There was also another stupid article written by Mary Kay who just likes to twist and turn and make everything more entertaining for her so she gets more clicks, basically saying how Shador is still behind, blah, blah, blah. But she's basing this on conversation that when coaches are publicly saying that that's not really the case, but she can twist it to make it seem like it. Anyway, Shador supposedly is behind in this competition, or they wouldn't announce him as the starter yet. But there's 3 months to go before the season. I think the idea here is, Shador hopefully over the next 2-3 months can continue to show that progress and be the starter. Now, the fact is, I mean, Shador did start 7 or 8 games last year. It's not like he's not able to not start for an NFL team. Many of you who don't like Shador will continue to say, well, his um, percentage of throwing passes and his interception ratio last year, and he had more interceptions than touchdown passes and all this crap. This guy was thrown into the fight. He had no prior buildup. I mean, his coaching and stuff that was going on uh, prior to coming in late in the season last year was very minimal. Like at this time last year, he wasn't getting first team reps. So all of these things are going to help this young quarterback, and I think that's where we're at. All of us, many of us Browns fans, and we've been talking about this endlessly on our network. That this whole thing with Deshaun. I mean, we have him on this stupid ass contract that we are all feeling, and it's been dreadful for Browns fans because we're stuck with this guy, and he's got awful. I mean, and he has, and then he gets injured, and he's always been injury prone. And the last time we saw him play real football, I think he was 1-6. I know fans were booing him off the field. I know some of you are upset about that they were booing him. That's not good Browns fans, but regardless, somebody was talking about that too. When the Browns supposedly fans were booing Deshaun when he left the field to play when he got injured the last time. It wasn't necessarily the injury; it was just this buildup of the fact that Deshaun has been a horrible, horrible quarterback. And then on top of that, you say that ship has sailed a year ago. The owners come out and say basically we're done with Deshaun, and now this whole last 3 months, the Browns have been feeding us this. Oh well, Deshaun could be really good. He could be much better, and we get a new coach in there, Todd Monken, and now Todd Monken's going to show some magic. It's going to be it's funny because Todd Monken is a 61-year-old guy who's never had a head coaching job in the NFL. And now we're talking about Todd Monken magic. Like, I understand he has some good experience working with quarterbacks, like Lamar Jackson when he was working in Baltimore. I get that, but we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves when we're talking about Todd Monken magic. Let's see how he does just as a head coach in a week one and go from there. I think it's ridiculous. Again, if the Browns decide that they're going to go with Deshaun Watson, I'm hoping that they're using this next 2 or 3 months to give Shador every opportunity and maybe then make that decision to go with him to start in week one, because we all know, I mean, it's a waste of time. We all know it's a waste of time. If you put in Deshaun Watson in week one, I don't think it's going to. I still will hold to it. I don't think that he'll be the week one starter. I know a lot of you will disagree with that or feel like the Browns are going to go that way with Deshaun, and he's got a leg up on Shador. But I don't see it. And the thing is, you have this entire literally 90% of the fan base. I can guarantee you, and you can guarantee this too. You know this if you're listening to this, and you're a Browns fan. We don't want Deshaun Watson to be starting as a Cleveland Browns quarterback any longer. We need to move on. And most 90% of you agree with that. So I'm not speaking something that none of you or all of you don't agree with. It's just ridiculous, though, that we're having to go through this, considering all these other things that have been happening with this organization. So this team is getting younger, and they've had some pretty good draft picks. And hopefully, these draft picks that we just picked up will work out as well as the last group did. We don't know yet because we haven't played a game, and we won't have a game for 3 months. But it's like everything is going the right direction except for this quarterback conversation. It seems like the organization is in step with everything, and I'm hoping that maybe they're still in step, and that's again why they haven't announced who's going to be that starting quarterback, because they feel they want, and I'm hoping this is the truth, that they want badly Shador to be the guy. I think they just I don't in my opinion, I think I get it, and you want to give the veteran Deshaun that respect, I suppose, before you announce that Shador is going to be the starting quarterback going into week one. Okay, that's fine. I can see that happening. And maybe I'm hopeful that's what ends up happening, because you are wasting your time. We all know this. You are wasting your time. And then this ridiculous conversation about Deshaun Watson re-signing with the Browns. Oh my God, please. I know they were talking about that on 97.1 up in Cleveland this morning. I mean, and I think Ken Carmen said something about, unless Deshaun goes out there and throws 35 touchdown passes to like 4 interceptions over the season, but he's realistic too. It's not going to happen. It's not happening. We saw it the last time, and there's been such a. He's played 19 games. Deshaun Watson has played 19 games since 2022 with the Cleveland Browns, or 2023. Was it 22? Yeah, 19 games in like what 4 seasons? 19 games. He's not the guy. We all know this. So the Browns really need to continue, get Shador in there, and let him run with it. There's all this conversation that goes on in some of the other radio programs too. I was trying to listen to 850 up in Cleveland. And to be quite honest, it is hard to listen to them anymore. They're so like just about clicks, and I tried to listen to them for like 3 seconds and I had to turn them off because they're just so down on, and this conversation with the quarterbacks, it's just difficult to listen to. But so come back and listen to us. We're like you. We're not going to be crazy, but we're realistic, and we're not going to try to sugarcoat it here on the Fanatical L's network. Shador should be the guy moving forward. Give him the opportunity to play the season out. I know there's this history of how Browns quarterbacks they can't make it through a full season, which why not? Why can't, I mean, you put Shador in there, he's a young kid, maybe there's always that risk of injury, but I'm not going into a season thinking, or you shouldn't be if you're a Browns fan, if you listen to these other programs like 850 that are always making jokes about it. Well, if you're a Cleveland Browns quarterback, there's going to be 4 or 5 guys starting. This is that loser mentality this is where I get annoyed and can't listen to these guys anymore on these radio programs because they're so belittling of this team that you root for. And it's tough, man. We're already Browns fans. We're lifelong fans, and we want to stay that way. But um, so it's just a bunch of crap. And I think Shador should be, the guy. Let him run out the season. Let him play it out. Let him get in there. Plan on him playing all 17 games. And at the end of the season, it doesn't work out. Then you've got a plethora of quarterbacks in the 2027 draft that are going to be right there for you if your team didn't win a lot of games this season. This sword. I know I was listening to one of the other radio guys up in Cleveland, and they're ridiculously talking about the Sornsby kid who is the gambler from Texas Tech. He was at where was it? Prior to he played at Indiana, right? And then he went to Cincinnati, and no, and then now he's at Texas Tech. Was it Cincinnati? Anyway, he's supposed to be quarterback at Texas Tech, but then it was discovered that he was betting on his team as the quarterback on uh, these betting apps, and he's in a shitload of trouble. But then some stupid judge said, "Oh no, it's okay. He can continue to play." And so now there's just been this whole thing going back with Texas Tech. And they came out with it. They did their own stupid podcast with a bunch of their bigwigs from Texas Tech. It was a funny sight to see. I watched about 5 minutes of it, and it was like, this is just ridiculous. Sornsby, I mean, he gambled on football. Not only that, he gambled on his own team. Now, and then they're trying to say, well, he has an addiction problem and all this. Right, fine, okay. He's 20. He's 20 years old, 21, 22 years old. He's a young kid. Okay, he screwed up. I don't want to see him play. And you Browns fans and you people out there that are promoting this still, even though Todd Monken is saying it would not be a good idea. And I'm listening to Todd Monken because he's an old elder now, guy talking about this kid Sornsby and saying, no, we don't want anything part with him. But then the Cleveland media is spinning it, and I have respect for Nick Padrone and whoever those guys there, but he's bringing up this conversation about how Andrew Berry is saying that oh well, you never know, no, there should be like the solid answer in the Browns organization is a solid no. And Sornsby, I mean, he might be a decent quarterback, but he doesn't deserve to play any longer. He's screwed up. He's screwed up. And we talk about the greats of all time in baseball, like Pete Rose. Pete Rose is dead. He died, and he's still not in the Hall of Fame. And he was one of the greatest baseball players in major leagues. He's not in the Hall of Fame. They're denying him all that. I mean, Swordsby screwed up. Okay. And there needs to be some penalty on that. And Texas Tech supporting this kid, I get it to one degree, but the other part of this is just ridiculous. Now, the point is also that there's probably dozens, hundreds of other kids out there, especially at the collegiate level, that are probably betting. And Sorensby kind of is the kid that kind of got pointed out and caught. There's other examples, I'm sure, out there of kids who are doing this and haven't been caught yet. And then you hear stories here in Cleveland I heard somebody talking locally here in Columbus but they followed the team up in Cleveland, and he was saying how the Browns players at one time recently some of them were openly betting on these apps when they was in the locker room, and all of this should be illegal and blah blah blah. I mean, that they haven't been caught yet. So it's endless. I get it, but Sorensby got caught. You know, I'm not one that this kid. I mean, I know it's not like some other things that people could be doing, but he spent what was it like 90 grand? They said they caught him all these bets. I mean, it's a lot of money. And this kid knows what he's doing. Don't tell me that these kids don't know what they're doing. So I don't want to have any part in Stormsby. If the Browns decide to go down that road, I would be shocked. And if they do, I will not be a happy camper. Let's pause here for a quick commercial break. This is Coffee Jolt. We'll be right back. Hey, good. Welcome back to Coffee Jolt here on the Fanatical L's Network. I'm Johnny Cleveland or John Suchan. Thanks again. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee here again. The coffee is from Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. They shake the hand of the farmer. check out their link on our X page, and you can buy some of this amazing coffee. A portion of that purchase goes back here to the Fanatical Elves Network. All right, let's shift gears here. A few more minutes here before we part ways, but I did want to, let's see here, quickly have okay, yeah. Thank you, Raul. I appreciate you. He's yeah, not yet. I'll share your comments here. He suggests we sign Cody Kessler. Trust me on this one. Ah, that's funny, real funny. Have the Browns announced the Shador jersey retirement game yet? No. So if you're watching this, you can see this. If you're listening to us later on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere else you listen to your podcast, um, one of our uh, fans is commenting. I don't know if you're a fan of our Fanatical Elves Network, but appreciate you commenting. Thanks again. You're watching us on YouTube, so thank you. So let me get back to a couple other things before we let you go here. Like I mentioned earlier, I was up in Cleveland. The Indians, Guardians played, and Guardians are right there, but they have a plethora of injuries right now. Still managing to stay up there in that first place spot. So I hope that they can stay up there and continue to compete. The Chicago White Sox. I mean, come on, the White Sox aren't going to be able to hold it together. They're the White Sox. Um, Cavs, end of the season. I will congratulations to the New York Knickerbockers. The Knicks did win the championship. They did beat San Antonio 2 nights ago. And no, I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm not promoting the New York Knicks. And but they did do a hell of a job and played well as a team. They really have a very good team. And I don't like to say that. I don't like Josh Hart kid. He's arrogant, pompous ass. But the Brunson, Jalen Brunson is a pretty cool dude. I think he has some relation to my my daughter's former team, the Buffalo Bulls, the college team. Coach Jack, I think Coach Jack is somehow related to Jalen Brunson and his family. So shout out to him. Jalen Brunson was dynamite. Did some great things for that team. They just played well as a team, and even though the Cavs got routed by the Knicks, I think you can see that the Knicks really were prepared and did what they needed to do to win a championship. Now, San Antonio, they were led by their stupid ass young freak, 8 foot giant, Wemby. I don't know his full name because it's too hard to pronounce, but Wemby is an immature 22-year-old kid who said a lot of stupid things and is a dirty player. And now, if you want, I don't know if that's ever going to get fixed. His attitude in this final round was just completely obnoxiously stupid, and he certainly has gained popularity in the hate column. Um, I don't know, man. He said some really stupid things about everything, and some people are chalking up. Well, he's 22. I agree with that a little bit, but I also think he's just a jerk. He's French too, so that's I like France and I like French, but maybe that has something to do with his spunky attitude. But he better learn how to tone it down and learn how to not play dirty. The number of times that he tried to harm other players on the opposing team was startling, and the fact that the NBA overlooked several of these plays where you could see the intent in what he was doing to try to harm these other players is hard for me to overlook, and a lot of fans to overlook what the NBA did there. I know that they wanted Wemby to be part of this series because he's the focal point, but man, you talk about a team that really blew an opportunity. They really choked away a few of those games. I know Cavs fans have already experienced that in the last couple of weeks, but that one game was game 3, I think, where they had or game 2, where they had a huge lead. The Spurs did by like 20, 25 again in the fourth quarter and lost that. Um, just another. San Antonio did not look like they were playing well together, even despite Wemby. I mean, those players looked dejected. They didn't look like they wanted to play together. You can tell when a team is united, and you can tell when a team is not united. And the San Antonio Spurs were a team that is not united. I think their young coach has a lot to learn. I'm sure he's a good coach, but he was outcoached. Mike Brown, who's been a former Cavalier coach, has done a lot to help that Knicks team. I mean, shout out to him for really just stepping into a job where he got fired. I know people have talked about this and that former player that he used to coach, was it D'Angelo Fox? That kid, another immature jerk that a lot of people, I think didn't he fix games or bet on, didn't he get in trouble the NBA for a little bit? Any of that Fox kid. So just shout out to Mike Brown. He used to be with he never did win a title with the Cavs. So shout out to him. Shout out to the Knicks. Now I'm not a shout out to the Knicks fans. Man, you talk about a contrast, right? I'm going to take a sip of my coffee here. You talk about a contrast in a fan base with the New York Knicks. You have all these high profile Taylor Swift, Ben Stiller, all these talents and actors and movie stars and musicians and Spike Lee and all of the former Knicks players like Patrick Ewing. That's the thing. I mean, I go back and if you're an old fan like I am, I mean, Patrick Ewing and all those guys, I mean, those were some amazing Knicks teams, especially back in the 80s and the 90s. They never won a championship. The last time the Knicks won a championship was 1973. So, but you talk about this contrast with that type of fan, and then the regular New York Knicks fan. I mean, the New York fans are just god awful. I mean, they are ripping apart their city. They're terrorizing um, opponents who are wearing jerseys for the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, there's so much video out there, and I know video you can use video in any way you want to create a narrative, and I'm certain that those situations are more or less they're isolated, but they still speak volumes about what some fans are like, and it's just a disgrace that these young uh, people out there that are supposed fans of the team, they're not fans. They're just a disgrace to fandom. Anybody that wants to destroy property of any sort or anything in a celebration and harm opponents who cheer on the other team are just you're nothing more than just complete idiots. And you don't deserve to be fans of the team. And hopefully that can be corrected at some point. But it will probably continue to happen, and that's a sad state of affairs, especially young people who are not given a lot of direction and are basically lost, and so then they treat property and other things so disrespectfully. So it's sad to see. It's because you see the celebrations going on and all the excitement inside Madison Square Garden, and yet you have all these people on the outside who are just treating this just poorly. So in a complete contrast to all of that New York fans are and aren't, then you have the Japanese fan base who wanted to finish here with the World Cup, and the World Cup, this ginormous sporting event that happens across the globe. And this year, I think there's 48 teams involved. I mean, if you get outside of the United States and you do any sort of traveling, you will immediately discover that the World Cup is the universal, the biggest sporting event every 4 years. There's nothing bigger. It's bigger than the Super Bowl. It's bigger than we all here in America we're all about America and everything else. But you get outside of the United States and the World Cup is it. And people that are understanding of that and really true sports fans, even here in the United States, can appreciate that. If you are a real fan, you get that. And so, now we have all these fans from these opposing countries coming here to the United States and Canada and Mexico, where the games are being held over the next month and a half. Man, this World Cup that goes on forever. I don't think the finals are until like July 17th or 18th, 19th, something like that. So it's a long event, and there's more teams this time around. So thus probably the extent of it. But each of these big cities, like here in the United States, you got Kansas City, Philadelphia, was Atlanta, out in Los Angeles. There are games, five or six of them. So it's been fun to see. There was a game the other night between Japan and the Netherlands. You know, you talk about a contrast in um, just two cultures. I mean, you have the Japanese who are, just physically, they're, I mean, good soccer players, obviously, but just like the height, Japanese people are it's a smaller team. Physically, the Netherlands players, they have usually a height advantage. And so you had the Netherlands against Japan, and was it, I think they came to a draw. Japan tied it up late. And then what struck me, and this has gotten some take on social media, which and we already, if you know anything about Japan and their culture and stuff, they actually, the people that were sitting in certain sections at the stadium were cleaning up their own area of where they sat in the arena. Like they were picking up the garbage after the game. I don't know how many of you stay after ball games, like in Cleveland or anywhere you watch a game, but I don't see too many fans going around with garbage bags of their own, trying to clean up the garbage that's been there. Now, like I was at the ball game in Cleveland. I had a bag full of peanuts that my wife and I ate toward the end of the game, and oh my, lots of peanut shells and whatnot on scurried on the floor of the stadium there, and I didn't pick it up, and you know, did I feel a little bit bad about it? Yeah, I did. But here you have Japanese fans who are actually cleaning all of that up, and so a contrast to how typical fans uh, look at things, and they talk about honor and respecting the stadium, respecting the people that you're the opponent, people that run the stadium, and just simply wanting to keep things clean. And I've heard this. I haven't been to Japan, but I understand that when you do go there, it is exceptionally clean because this is how they treat their environment and their culture. And so a shout out to those from the Japanese game recently who were there helping clean, just something to really found that interesting. And I don't know how many fans really pay attention to that, and I know some people did it probably to get, social media. People like to, spread that, and that's typically, not, maybe not every Japanese fan is doing that, but there were some there who were doing that. And so shout out to them. There is this other guy who got a lot of traction, German fan. I'm trying to think what his name is. I started following him because he became a overnight sensation at the World Cup recently. Let me pull what is his name, because I know he's very popular right now. Um, let's see here. Usually he'll pop up in my feed, but now Freddie is his name, I think. German fans is, and now he's got invited to this Ella Langley concert up in Oklahoma City. I gotta sneeze. Hold on for a second. But here's this fan. He's been traveling the United States and sharing his stops and talking about how great America is. He stopped at a Buc-ee's, Walmart. He's been to New Orleans. He's gained, like, he's up to like 500,000. Um, yeah, Freddie is his name. He's up to 610,000 followers right now. There was a story written about him in People magazine like a week ago, and people started talking about this kid. And a week ago, when I looked at he had 430,000 followers. Well, now he has 610,000 followers. I wish you guys here who are watching us at the Fanatical Elves Network would follow. If you follow Freddie, you should follow us. So we gain some traction that way. That would be fantastic. But anyhow, shout out to this guy and his friends. They've been going across the country sharing how great the United States is, and it is a great country. And like I said before, the World Cup brings fans together, and we're here in North America now, in Canada, Mexico, and the United States, and it's a pretty good bit. And it's exciting to see. There are games on today and tomorrow, and I know my son Alec does a bunch of. Go follow him on YouTube. It's I'm Jabster, great website. He's got like 150,000 subscribers. We only have 430 subscribers on our YouTube channel. So follow us on the YouTube channel too, the Elves Network, ELFZ Network, NETWORK. Did I spell that right? Maybe. Alec has a lot more subscribers than us. He's at I'm Jabster. I am Jabster. JAB. What is STER? So you can follow him too. He does a plethora of videos for the World Cup and fun stuff. So I would encourage you to listen to his shows, watch his shows as well. So um, I appreciate Raul you hanging in with us. Boy, you've got a plethora of comments here about the brownies. Um, yeah, thanks, Raul. Your last comment here about Cavs should have signed Caitlin Clark and Angela Reese for Game 7. I like that. Yeah, maybe you've heard me talk about what I think about the World Cup, or about the WNBA. That is, I'm not a fan of either one of those players. Maybe you've heard me talk about this. Angel Reese is very overrated. She can't shoot the ball. Have you seen how she shoots the basketball? Just just not a very good basketball player. Now, Caitlin Clark is a very good basketball player. That I haven't followed it enough. I mean, I have my opinions on it, so but I don't watch all the games, so I should if I paid attention and watched more of those WNBA games. But what you see right now is that Caitlin Clark is not getting the calls. And a lot of people are talking about how she should be the face of the WNBA and the WNBA is treating her poorly, blah, 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 blah. But I've also seen Caitlin Clark acting completely immature and throwing her hands up in haste and doing a lot of stuff that suggests that she's not a very mature young person. Obviously, she's young, she's learning, she's in her early 20s, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not a big fan of hers. I'm not a big fan of, like, I've talked about Sophia Cunningham, her new teammate here for whatever team they play for. You talk about another immature young person. Sophia Cunningham's the one that was ripping Cleveland a couple months ago when they were talking about bringing in a WNBA team to Cleveland. She was like, they don't want to. She was publicly saying that Cleveland's not a good place to bring a WNBA team to because the players don't want to play in Cleveland. So I don't have a lot of respect for young people, especially that are ignorant and stupid. So I'll just leave that where it is. But yeah, Raul, I like your thought there. It certainly would draw a crowd. So I don't understand your Julio Franco available, but yeah, but yeah, I am old school Indians fan. But again, and your resume here talking about Johnny Manziel as all right. So you've brought up all of these great terrible except for Julio. We all loved Julio Franco growing up. Julio. All right, I think let's see here. I mentioned before I leave you, I mentioned at the beginning of the show about Rocky River Reservation of the Metro Parks up in Cleveland. Just as a side note, if you're in Cleveland and you want to do something this summer, go check that place out. Just awesome stuff up there. My wife and I went on several of the different trails and just a nice place to go. It's right near the airport. So, I mean, it's hilarious how you're at the airport and you're basically a mile away and you're in this lush, trees and swamp and it's it's quite an interesting place. But they have a really cool nature center up there, especially for the kids. If you have kids, you want to go check out a place. A lot of cool things to see and have fun doing that. All right, folks. I hope you have a very good rest of your, what is it, Monday? Yeah, Monday, June 15th. Yesterday was June 14th, Flag Day. Shout out to my niece, Izzy, who had a birthday as well. Shout out to her. And we'll be back later this week for another Coffee Jolt with Johnny Cleveland as I'm on my 6 week hiatus from school and look forward to bringing you some more entertainment and talking more about how I hate Mary Kay and see what else happens. The quarterback competition that's still 3 months away from us learning who's going to be the week 1 starter. So hang in there, Browns fans. Go Browns. Talk to you soon. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. See ya.